The brightness of this day has given me the opportunity to bring you this video. Welcome back to my channel, Winging It with AC. My name is AC. So I'm here to talk about breastfeeding, one of my favorite topics, one of my favorite subjects. As hard as breastfeeding is, I love to advocate for it. So for those of you who are new on this channel, I recently had my second baby. He is currently 4 months old. He's almost 5 months old, and I just thought that I should come on here and share my experience, how my experience has been so far over the past 4 months. So I have everything written down in my book so that I don't forget, because nowadays my brain has been betraying me. And so let's get started with this video. Now, for starters, in the very beginning, my milk came in early. I think I had a C-section in the evening, Wednesday evening. I think by Thursday, sometime during the day, or at least by evening, I think my milk had come in. But what I love, I wish I could tell a lot of moms, is that in the beginning, don't expect the milk to be, don't expect the milk to be a lot. They are literally drops, like, and they don't look white because it's colostrum, I think. In the very, 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 very first few hours of your milk coming in, it's like, when I pressed my nipple, what I saw was like, it was like a clear liquid, and they're literally drops because that's the amount your baby needs at that time. But I feel like because of social media and people's videos about their milk stashes and everything, when moms go and give birth, they're expecting that they should be pumping. Like, if you are pumping the next day after your milk has come in, if you hear all that noise, please, it's serum. Okay. I said I needed silence, but dude has decided I don't deserve silence for my video, so ignore him. Okay. So like I was saying, that when people pump on the second day, the third day after giving birth, they're expecting volumes of milk. You'll probably pump half an ounce or 1 ounce or something, or even less, like, because that's what your baby needs at the time. But anyway, baby is called Cuckoo. Cuckoo suckled a lot. He was on my breast a lot that first day. The second day, like, he was on my breast a lot. So I believe that also helped in my milk coming in. So what they say is that as early as you can, put your baby to breast so that they start suckling, and then so that, you know, to stimulate your milk to start coming in. My nipples started getting sore and cracked, like it was getting painful for the first 1 week, 1 week, 2 weeks. Yeah, my nipples were, no, at least for the first week and a half, my nipples started getting sore and cracked. So I was like, you know what, I need to go back and refresh my memory about how to get a good latch, because if your nipples are getting cracked and sore, then there's something wrong with baby's latch. It shouldn't make you wince. And at the point, I was dreading him getting onto my breast, because the first few cycles, like, I'll be wincing in pain. So I went back onto YouTube, found some videos, watched videos on how to get a good latch, and that was it. I got it right, and then my nipples healed, and then I was fine. But right from the beginning, after every breastfeeding session, I was using some of my nipple cream, yeah, nipple balm, whatever it is. So that's that with sore and cracked nipples. And I would always advise people that if you plan on breastfeeding, or if you're currently breastfeeding, it's not automatic that you know how to breastfeed, especially if you're a first time mom. And even if you're a second time mom, third time mom, there is nothing wrong with going back to just refresh your memory, or you may learn something new that will help you and give you a better breastfeeding journey. Call. Okay, now, two things that I feel like are very important in the early weeks of breastfeeding, at least the first 1 month of breastfeeding, is the position. Now, I've moved back a little, but we are all used to the this position, which is the what's this position called? The cradle position, where baby's head is here and baby is feeding on this breast. But when you have a newborn, it's easier to do either the cross cradle position or the football hold. Football hold was my favorite. So I would hold baby this way. So his head is in my palm. The back of his head is in my palm, and then I put him here, and then I support underneath my elbow with a pillow or the breastfeeding pillow. So I carried my breastfeeding pillow along with me to the hospital. So I remember, I think the second day or so, the day after I gave birth, a nurse walked in, and that's how I was holding him, and he was suckling, and she was telling me, she was like, why am I holding him that way to breastfeed? And I was like, it's easier, it works better for me. So I don't know if she had never seen that position before, but I've come to realize that a lot of our nurses are not, of course they are not lactation consultants, but they are not well informed about the different breastfeeding positions and all the info and jazz about breastfeeding. So I would advise the the cross cradle. You're holding your baby this way, your baby's palm and head is in this palm, but okay, with the cradle, their head is here, but with the cross cradle, their head is here and they're feeding on this breast. I hope you get what I'm talking about. So just like I always like to say, find videos on YouTube, educate yourself, okay? So now 1 week later, my what they call transition milk came in. So my boobs really got swollen and heavy like stone, and I remember that experience with serum too. Just that back then I wasn't that well informed, so I didn't pump. I didn't have my pump with me at that time, but this time around I was ready. I had my pump ready, so I started pumping. And then when I informed my good old sweetheart Jocelyn of pregnancy matters, it's been a while since I mentioned her name on this channel, but if you are a family member from when I started this channel, you've heard her name several times. Pregnancy Matters Ghana. I don't play without my sister. She was like, you need to pump so that your body the milk doesn't like go back into your body, and then this is when you need to start establishing your supply. So I pumped, and she was like, when you pump, you can keep it in the fridge or the freezer and use it as a top-up feed later when you feel like you fed the baby and baby is not full. You will please take this video like that, because okay. So and then I use a silicone pump. Hold on and let me go and get that pump for you, for those of you who do not know how that pump looks like. So this is our silicone pump. I actually have two. I discovered this pump when I was breastfeeding serum, but that was like, by the time I actually got my hands on one, I was almost done with exclusive breastfeeding, so I only used a few times, and I just stored it. But this time around, I was ready for this silicone pump. It's very helpful if you want to build, if you know you're going to return back to work after maternity leave and you're trying to build a stash of milk. Very helpful, and it just, you're not wasting milk. Okay, so let me show you how this thing works. You just fold it over, the flap over, squeeze out the air, attach it onto your breast so that your nipple has to go here, and then you fold it over. So you put that on one breast while baby is on the other breast. So for those of you who don't know, when you're breastfeeding on one side, the other side leaks. So there's something called the let down reflex. When baby is suckling in the beginning very quickly, the milk lets down, and you can actually feel the sensation in both breasts, and the other breast also lets down. So that is where this comes in handy. And throughout the time you're breastfeeding, like, I mean, the suction from this thing also helps with draining out the breast. So maybe sometimes by the time you're done feeding baby on this side, it's been 20 minutes, you'd have cut maybe 1 ounce from here. So really, if you are one who doesn't want to sit down for 20 to 30 minutes actually pumping, you could use this alone to build a stash. So every time you attach baby to breast, have it handy, put this one on the other side, catch whatever you have, pour it in a bottle, put it in the fridge throughout the day. Even if you catch 1 ounce per feeding session and you feed your baby 8 times a day, in a day you've caught 8 ounces of milk. Okay, I'm talking in US terms because all the videos I was watching about breastfeeding were mostly US videos, so they were all talking in ounces, even though in Ghana we talk in ml. So in ml, that will be, what is 8 times 3? 240. 24. So 240 ml. That you would have caught 240 ml in a day. And if you do that every day, by the time you get to 2 months, you will have a lot of milk. You have a stash. So this thing comes in really, really handy. And this one, somebody gave this one to me as a gift. This is the Dr. Brown milk catcher. The original one is called the Hacker. That's the one I purchased previously with Sarah. So I have a stash, and stash simply means you have breast milk stored up. So I actually have a lot. I may show it sometime. I feel like sometimes when you do that today, it's like you're giving other people pressure, because then it's like unconsciously you're watching it like, hey, me, I don't have that much milk or something. But if you want me to talk about how I built that stash, I can do so in another video, because there are certain steps I took to be able to build a stash. You have to be conscious about it. Otherwise, by the time you're ready to go back to work, you don't have milk stashed and you go crazy. And with my stash, I haven't started using it yet, because I decided that, okay, so now the sun has decided to come out, so you can see sun on my face, but just use, okay, you take it like that, okay? So I've decided that in order to save money on buying breast milk storage bags, because those things are not cheap, at least in Ghana here, they are not cheap, I decided that instead of using the old stash, my stash every day, and then freezing the new one I pump when I go to work, what I pump today at work is what you will drink tomorrow. So the stash is just there in the deep freezer. I will probably, once in a while, I will freeze what I pump when I go to work, and then take out what he needs the next day from the stash. But I realized that that is how I can save money on buying breast milk storage bags, because I spent a lot of money on those things when I was breastfeeding serum and pumping with him. That's my first son. So I have learned a lesson. Okay, slacker boob. There's something called the slacker boob, where one breast produces way more milk than the other breast. Now, the interesting thing about my body is that when I was nursing Sarah, my first son, my right breast was the slacker. So every time I would pump, this breast would give me 1 ounce or 1.5 ounces less than this one. So if I get, let's say, 5 ounces when I pump, if I get 5 ounces on this breast, this one will give me maybe like 3.5 ounces or 4 ounces. And then I read about it, and then I took certain steps, and I realized that it's evened out over time, even though sometimes it will still just give me like 0.5 less, but it got better. But this time around, this one rather that was producing more is rather producing less, and even far less than this one. So now this one is the right side is rather the one that gives me a lot of milk. So if I pump, and on here I get 4 ounces, this one will give me 2 ounces or 1.5 ounces. This one, the slacker general, slacker pro max. So that's what's happening. I find it very interesting. Like, I don't know what accounts for it, but I have a theory. If you have watched one of my earlier videos, I don't know which one it was, I talked about how I have been sweating like mad when I breastfeed. Hey, and in recent times, right now we are in August, and the weather has been so cold. People have been complaining about the cold. There was one night that was very cold, yet to me, come and see me, I was sweating the whole night. The whole night, like I was drenched in sweat, all because of breastfeeding. It drives me nuts, honestly, because I'll be getting ready to go to work the following morning. Everybody is cool, they want the windows closed, and me, I need all the windows open because I'm just hot. Yes. How about it? Why then? Okay, catch and the cuckoo mensu. Oh, menyadam. Yeah, so that's that with the sweating. I don't know what to do about it. I don't think there's anything I can do about it. It's just hormones acting up in my body. But it's very annoying. And then sugar cravings. Right now, I think it's better. Sugar cravings in the beginning, the first 2 months, not even the first 2 months, even up until a month ago. Every time Richie is coming back from somewhere, he's coming home, I'm like, please buy me chocolates. I got an obsession with Oreos because, of course, Oreos is also like chocolate flavored. I'll be like, please buy me Oreos, please buy me Oreos. And I would just gobble them up. And then one day he bought like 6 packets of Oreos. I think I finished them within that night and the next day, and that was it. I just gave up on Oreos. Like, I just got tired of Oreos. But the sugar craving didn't go away. I just wanted chocolate. Right now it's much better. I haven't asked for chocolate in a while. But almost every day I'm like, please buy me chocolate. Please buy me chocolate when you're coming. Please buy me chocolate. And then I came across a post on Instagram about breastfeeding and sugar cravings or something. And I was like, oh, so I am normal. So that's that. Recently my craving has, it's not even a craving impulse. I just bought a bit toffee. And now I just keep eating it. I need to stop because it's too much sugar. But anyway, so that's that with the sugar cravings and my breastfeeding. And then I noticed a dip in my supply when I moved back home from my wonderful parents' house. I stayed with them for 2 months. Those of you who are not Ghanaian, it is a Ghanaian practice whereby when you give birth, you go and stay with your mom, basically, so that your parents or your mom, so that your mom can help you with the baby, and then you also get rest and you get help and whatnot. Some people stay for 1 month, some people stay for 2 months, some people stay for 3 months, some people stay for 1 year. I stayed with Seram. I stayed for a month and a half. With Kuku, I stayed for 2 months. In fact, we were all there, the whole family, me, Richie, Seram. We were camping out in the house for 2 months. And so I was eating well. When we moved back home, I didn't have that much food at home. And so after a few days, I realized my supply had dipped. And when I was thinking about it, I realized that two things accounted for it. I wasn't eating well when I moved back home because I didn't have readily available meals and everything. And I had stopped pumping. For some reason, I had reduced my pumping times and everything. So that affected my supply. So I realized that my supply had dipped. I did a video on how I boost my supply, tried and tested. And that video is going up before this video. So I will be sure to leave a link to that video in this description box. So if you're interested in finding out how I boosted my supply in 24 hours. I saw a difference, and within like 3 to 4 days I saw a massive difference. But like, I was able to boost it within 24 hours. Go ahead and check that video out and send it to anybody who you know needs that information. But definitely drink a lot of water, eat well, and try to incorporate foods that boost breast milk supply in your diet every day, so that your milk supply is boosted. So for example, I eat oats every day. I've gone on a break from that because I'm tired of the oats. But if I'm not eating oats every morning for breakfast, which is the old-fashioned oats, then I make sure that I drink my lactation cocoa twice a day, morning, evening, morning, evening. If I'm not able to drink it in the evening, every morning I drink it. Yeah, so that has been my breastfeeding experience so far. If there's any other information you would like to know, feel free to write that in the comments section. YouTube, it's been so hard. I'm going to do another video on an update concerning my life right now as a mom of two. and how things are going and how it's been so hard for me to record videos. So my channel is somewhat suffering with views. As for YouTube, once you go on a short break, then the algorithm just forgets you and just tries to destroy your channel. So I am going to try my best, and I've resumed work, so it's even more hectic. But with God's help, I will. So please forgive me for my inconsistency on this channel. I'm sure eventually things will get better. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.